This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, back with you. Tom Gresham, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. Several people have. We've got you on hold. Larry, Scott, Rick, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. But first, we're going to bring in our friend Mark Gurney from Ruger, because it is that special time of the year when we do get all of these new products introduced. And, Mark, you guys have been announcing, it seems like a new product a week for the last 2 months.
It's been crazy, Tom. I was just trying to count up before we got on the phone here. I think we've got over 60 new products we've announced.
It's nuts. I mean, where do these come from?
Well, we've got them all stacked up, and, frankly, we would like to spread them out a little bit. But, hey, if they're ready, let's get them out to consumers so we can all enjoy them. This has been a great time to like shooting guns, isn't it? It
is crazy. I mean, just this week, we sent a crew out. Ryan and KJ went out and took the Ruger Precision Rimfire out, and it's like they just couldn't stop talking about it.
That is such a fun little gun. We had all the new guns together for a film crew, and, they liked them all, but they just kept going back to that Precision Rimfire. We had it suppressed and shooting at 100 yards.
Exactly.
And it's really fun, that the hang time between when the little bit of sound and then you hear it hit steel 100 yards away. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of a tick, ping,
ping, yep, and a very satisfying sound that is, isn't it?
Yeah, we were shooting it with that. There's a 60-grain bullet in Aguila long rifle. So it was just, Ryan was saying, this is quieter than a pellet gun.
Yeah. The only thing you hear is the bullet hit. That's about it.
Yeah. And just a wee bit accurate, right?
Yes. It's kind of humbling. It makes me realize when I've forgotten to do what I'm supposed to do.
Well, it's hard because you cannot blame it on your rifle.
No. Although, it's humbling in wind. A lot of people use that gun as a trainer for the long-range centerfire because they're watching wind, but the wind will push around a little 22 in 100 or 200 yards, but, quite a bit. Something that most of us don't have a big long range to go centerfire, but it'll teach you wind.
That's interesting. So, and it doesn't take much wind over 100 or 200 yards to push a 22 caliber bullet. That's cool.
Correct. Right.
Great training tool.
All regards.
All right, so let's run through. You got this huge shopping list. I just got another release from you this week. You got an SR 1911 Target. You guys are going to own the 1911 world as well. What is this?
Well, we started out in the 45, with a heavier barrel and Bomar sights. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people really like that, so we came out with it in 10, which you and I both have an adoration for 10 millimeter.
True.
But you set up that same gun with the heavy bull barrel, bushingless bull barrel in 9 millimeter, the Bomar sight, and it's a little over 40 ounces. It's a nice heavy gun. It really doesn't recoil much at all.
Right.
And we practice making tiny little groups, with rifles, and then bang away with steel with pistols. Well, how about focusing on making, what is it, aim small, miss small kind of thing with a handgun, and get back to those fundamentals. I don't think I'm going to put my hand in my left pocket and stretch out and do
bullseye.
that old.
Yeah,
but it's still a very satisfying way to shoot.
And then you got a Mark IV 22 rimfire pistol with a threaded bull barrel, a Target version.
Yeah, that's a combination. For years, the 2245 was our threaded offering, but then with the Mark IVs, we started putting threaded ones on that. But what about the actual Target model? It's a heavy stainless gun, threaded, and again, very satisfying way to you just press the trigger, and especially with a suppressor on, it just goes whoop, and then the bullet hole appears in your target.
All right, I'm kind of running through here, but I'm sure that you have a few of these that are like top of mind to you. You say, look, when people ask you what's new, what's cool, you go, well, let me tell you about. So which are the ones that you say, okay, I got to tell you about?
Well, we've got kind of the big four, and they run the gamut of all the different kind of things we make. So the first one that's very people are talking about, at least at the retail level, maybe consumers don't know about it yet, is the EC9S. So we come up with a less expensive way to machine our slide.
Yeah.
And so we don't dovetail sights in. We just machine the sights in integrally. And so it's the same LC9S that we know and love, by the way, with an outstanding trigger. If you haven't tried an LC9S or an EC9, you should, because it's a very nice trigger. But that's going to retail, a little over $200.
Really?
So it's a great, high-quality gun, well-made, backed by Ruger, and you can get into the self-defense world for a little over $200.
For a 9mm? Wow.
For a 9mm, yep.
Okay.
So that's the EC9S, okay? And then we step up from there to the brand new Security 9 pistol, and that's that perfect G19 size gun. Is it a compact? Yes. Is it a full size? Yes. It's 15 rounds 9 in a double stack, but a very trim double stack as it is.
Right.
And it's a very lightweight gun, and so it's a right size gun, but it's also the right price. That will go across the retail counter by a little over $300. So
okay,
it's been a long time coming for the size gun.
And somebody was asking me, said, well, why would I choose, literally this morning, I got an email, why would I choose that over the G19? I think the price difference is significant, isn't it?
It is. I don't know what a G19 costs, but I know the Security 9 has an MSRP of $379. And our guns tend to retail for significantly less than MSRP. So I think you'd see these in the low threes pretty much.
Yeah, that's a lot of gun for that kind of money.
It's a lot of gun. And it carries well. Part of the testing is I put an IWV in and I carry it for a month just to live with it and see how I like it. It carries easy and shoots well. What more do you want for it?
Yeah, exactly. For a little over $300. And Ruger quality, the Ruger name behind it. Okay, what else is next?
Well, I think the biggest news has been the PC carbine, the pistol caliber carbine.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, gosh, that is just a gang of fun to shoot. It's a takedown model. So it looks like a grown-up 1022. It's a takedown model, and it comes supplied with an SR9 mag and runs very well in 9mm. But the world is the way it is. We put an extra module in the box with the gun so that the gun will accept Glock magazines. So we know plenty of people out there have plenty of Glock magazines. The pistol will accommodate those magazines right out of the box.
Yeah, so there are tens of millions of 9mm Glock magazines, and this will take them all.
That's correct. Another interesting part about this gun that a lot of people kind of glossed over, they hear about the Glock mags and then they stop, but it has a multi-piece bolt. And it's a blowback gun, and for blowback guns to work well, they need a very heavy bolt.
Okay.
So we broke up the weight of the bolt into two pieces, and they're I guess decoupled would be the right word. So when one piece is traveling backward, the second piece is kind of trying to catch up with it, and then the first piece bounces off the back of the receiver and is on its way forward when the second piece catches up to it. So the end result is it cuts the amount of recoil you feel pretty much in half.
Spreads it out over a longer length of time.
Yeah, it's a bounce instead of just one big bounce for the bolt. And 9mm don't have much recoil. That's not the issue. The issue is the bolt coming backwards and it has to reverse direction.
Right, the bolt snap going back. Yeah.
Right. So if you watch any of all sorts of YouTube videos out there, people just watch the muzzle. It doesn't move.
And we shot it with a can on it, and holy cow, what fun is that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, jeez. And some time ago, somebody said, "Well, 9 is the new 22." Now 22 we can actually buy it again, but there's something very satisfying with hitting something with a big heavy bullet.
Yep.
You'll pick up on the lighter bullets. You pick up a couple 100 feet a second.
Exactly. All right, give me the last of the big four, and we're going to take a break with him. I got some questions from callers.
Okay. Well, we talked about that a little bit. The precision rimfire, right? That's the little brother of the Ruger Precision Rifle, only in 22 long rifle. All the right features, and you can really stretch it out there.
Sounds good. All right, Mark, hold on a second here. We're talking with Mark Gurney from Ruger about their new products. We've got some people with questions about Rugers, and don't go anywhere. We're going to get you in here. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
There's only one place where you can buy that firearm you've always wanted and turn it into your very own. That place is Brownells.com. now offering a huge selection of firearms from all your favorite brands. Brownells is the spot to buy online. When you're choosing your gun, be sure to look over the enormous selection of parts, accessories, ammo, and more to make that firearm your masterpiece. Brownells.com. Serious about firearms.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
All right, back with you. We're visiting with Mark Gurney from Ruger with lots and lots of product announcements. Ruger, and they're all on the website now, I believe, Mark, at Ruger.com.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, they're all right there. And we have some calls. And first I want to start with, because this is intriguing, Scott is on line 2 out of Casper, Wyoming with a 1967 model Ruger single 6. What do you have there, Scott?
Well, I purchased it a few years ago, my friend. It's a Ruger single 6 in a 22, with like the 6-inch barrel or so. Mm-hmm. It's never been fired. It's from, according to the serial number, it's from 1967. It's never been shot. But the unique thing about it is the barrel has never been rifled.
Now, that's the part that got my attention. So it is a smooth bore?
Correct. But the barrel, the inside diameter of the barrel, will not accept a 22 shell.
And so what I'm wondering if that was some kind of a special run of something, and so we will turn to Mr. Gurney here, who, that was before your time even, Mark.
It was. I was but a very small child then.
Any thoughts of what that might be?
No, but that, coming from the manufacturer's point of view, that would be worrisome on our part.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I would think that you might want to take a look at that.
We would very much like to have that gun back, to put a proper barrel on it, and then return it to you. That would be the wise thing to do.
Scott, would that work for you?
Well, and that's what I was trying to find out was, because it's never been shot, I'm never going to shoot it. Would it be better just to leave it in the gun safe as is, or?
Well, I can tell you now, I don't know what Mark's going to say. I want to tell you what I think, okay? Because he's got to speak for the company. I'm going to speak because I don't speak for the company. I wouldn't do that for at least a couple of reasons. I would go ahead and send it back. And I can say something that Mark can't say. That was in the old days, 67. The Ruger that you have today is not the Ruger that it used to be 40-plus years ago, 50 years ago almost. And frankly, the quality control is so much better now. And I don't know what happened with that gun. I have heard of guns getting out of companies before with the barrels not being rifled. Not supposed to go out that way. I think we can agree on that. If it were me, I would probably get it taken care of, unless you say, okay, I want this to be a collector's item. But even at that, and I don't know that it's unsafe, but it sure is unusual to the point where it would be, as Mark says, worrisome.
Gotcha.
Tom, I could and would say all that as well. We
Okay.
The best place for that gun is to come back to us. We'll put a proper barrel on it. And frankly, there's that's the pre-transfer bar gun as well. Mm-hmm. So it should go through the upgrade. We're very good at doing that. We return all the old parts so the originality is kept, and we don't do the gun any harm. But you should give customer service a call. We pay for the trip back to Ruger and get it corrected. So that way somebody else can enjoy it sometime in the future. Yep. You never know what's going to happen beyond your ownership. That's
the thing. So you can say, well, I'm never going to shoot it, but you don't know what's going to happen down the road, and you'd like to have it to be as safe a firearm as it can be. And but the transfer bar safety in there and the getting that barrel, a proper barrel on it, I think it's the way to go. And Scott, all you got to do is contact Ruger, and they'll take care of it for you. Okay, good deal. Let's go to Rick in Clarksville, Tennessee for a second on line one. I understand, Rick, that you are a Ruger fan.
Yes, sir. I've got 13 Rugers right now.
Okay.
And I just had finished upgrading my 1022 with the Ruger bull barrel and the BX trigger. Mm-hmm. And I was really impressed with how it was shooting. And then, 2 days later, I saw that you guys came out with a Ruger precision rifle in 22 LR.
You know what that means? Number 14's on the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are coming up with weapons faster than my wife will let me buy them.
Well, the secret there.
Exactly.
You got to start getting guns for your wife now.
Oh, no, she's got 4 Rugers that she has. She likes the pistol. She doesn't like rifles at all.
I love it. Well, I tell you what, if you want to get her interested in rifles, you get either that takedown 9mm carbine, that PC9, or a 1022, and then get a suppressor for it and put it on that.
Yes, sir.
And honestly, just stick a red dot sight on it, and you have, Mark, would you not agree that's like one of the most fun things you can get?
Yes, and you got to get some targets that are fun to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I usually
one of my secret favorites is sidewalk chalk.
Yeah, but no, she doesn't. She enjoys spotting for me on the long range targets.
Okay.
But she doesn't like shooting rifles.
Okay. Well, then I think Precision 22, the Ruger Precision Rifle and 22 rimfire is in your future.
Hope so, sir.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Well, Mark, there you go. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, and people say, well, why do they bring out so many rifles? Rick is the reason. I mean, honestly, there it is, right?
Yeah, I think that professionally, the product life cycle of firearms is getting shorter as we move forward through the years. Right. It used to be not much change in a revolver, over the decades. Mm-hmm. But now all the new things are bringing out. We've got to keep on the game and just keep bringing more stuff out. And we absolutely intend to do that.
And and Rick wants to buy more guns. And if you bring out new things that are interesting, that gives him a chance. You're making him happy. You're making Ruger happy. You're helping the U.S. economy in the process. And everybody's winning.
Yeah.
All right. So I know you've got a ton of other things, and we can't get into all of them here. And we just had Mr. Pluff on right before you talking about the new Ruger shooting team. He couldn't tell us who's on it, but he did tell us that Doug Koenig is the captain, and you pretty much can't get any better than that.
No. This is a really fun time to be working for Ruger, working with Ruger, hanging out, buying Rugers. I mean, this is we hope to really push this the next couple of years and really give everybody an excuse to buy another Ruger.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I think that in a few years we're going to look back at 2018 and say this was a golden time when it comes to new guns being introduced.
Yes, absolutely. We only touched about like half of the ones we got coming out.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm looking here. You got the Ruger American Rifle Predator, the Ruger American Rifle with a Go Wild camo stock. You got a Vortex Crossfire rifle scope. You got the Ruger American Rifle Ranch model, a Predator model. It goes on and on.
Yeah, no, all those American rifles are interesting because we have a new stock setup where we can put in different magazines.
Yeah.
So the models can now run off of AR magazines.
Ooh, and the 308s, the centerfires can take
AI magazines.
So you got detachable box magazines in your bolt-action rifles.
In remember, we had the ranch model in 7.6 2x39. That runs off a Mini 30. It's just all this seems like we keep going back to having fun, but now we have bolt actions that can take detachable mags. And what's not to like about running a bolt action with in 5.56 with AR mags? It's
or having a 10-shot 308. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just do it.
Right.
It's pretty exciting time for you guys, and knowing you as well as I do, I know you have probably another dozen or more things on your list that you can't tell us about quite yet.
We are always working. Some people ask me, hey, you should be working on, and they tell me what we should be working on, and they just kind of smile and say, yep, and then we already are. It takes a lot longer than you all might think.
Right.
But we work hard to try to get them out as quickly as we can.
And then, what the great part is when you announce it, he goes back to his buddies and says, I told Ruger they should do that, and they did. I'm glad they listened to me.
Yes, exactly. And we just smile and wave.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Mark, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Las Vegas in about a week.
Yeah, I look forward to it, too. I always appreciate being on your show, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Gurney from Ruger. Yeah, Ruger.com. If you want to see all the new stuff, it is startling. And, not just Ruger. They've got a ton of products, but, oh, my gosh, everybody's bringing out new products. It's a crazy time. As you know, sales were really down in 2017, and all the companies know that new products, that's what drives sales. And so they're gearing up, and they're cranking them out, and they're not even waiting. Used to, they would just wait till SHOT Show and announce them there. Now, the moment they're ready, they're throwing them out there, and a lot of these are in stores even as we speak. So if you want one of these, don't be at all afraid to contact your store. And if they don't have it in stock, have them call the distributor, because chances are the distributor has it in stock. Very cool stuff. All right, we are open lines waiting for your range reports. If there's anything on that list you think you would like to get, or if there's something you think the gun makers should be making, call me, 866-TALK-GUN, or just call Tom Talk Gun.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
And we're back with Tom Gresham here, 866-TALK-GUN. You can join us by just calling in. Basically, it's just a bunch of folks, guys and gals, sitting around the campfire talking about guns and shooting and hunting and scopes and ammo and anything else that has to do with firearms. If there's something on your mind or a story you'd like to tell, well, we're all ears. Just call me. Just call Tom Talk Gun. Larry has been on hold forever, and we appreciate your patience, Larry, on 3. Thank you, sir. How are you?
Is this Tom?
Yes, sir. You are on the air.
Okay, Tom. I'm an old mountain boy from the beautiful mountains and rivers and valleys of West Virginia.
Okay.
And I got a story to tell you, and every time I tell it, I get tears in my eyes, and I get the sniffles a little bit.
All righty.
This is about 27 wounded warriors 4 weeks ago yesterday. They paralyzed, no legs, one leg, one arm, one eye, PSD. They had all shapes and forms of wounded warriors. Mm-hmm. Some of them could walk somewhat, but we got some people here that's called West Virginia Hero Hunters, and they took them out 4 weeks ago Saturday. There was 27 of them, and they took them back in the woods on side-by-sides. They even had heat in some of the blinds for them, Tom, because they was in pretty bad shape.
Right.
And they took them back in there before daylight, and when the day was over, about 5:30, because that's when it gets dark here back at that time 4 weeks ago,
right.
27 hunters killed 29 deer. And now, you could kill 2, but 2 of them got 2. But, Tom, this was a magnificent story. The people that takes care of these people, they wine them and dine them. I mean, you just wouldn't believe how they take care of them. We love our wounded warriors here in West Virginia.
That is a fabulous story. Larry, that is terrific. I appreciate you so much sharing that with us. And, for those who are saying, what can I do? How can I help? Well, there you go. There's a group near you, guarantee you, that will help wounded warriors, help our disabled vets. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of the National Wounded Warrior Project. They have continued to take a bit of an anti-gun stance. And we broke that story years ago right here on the radio. But there are so many other groups, local groups and national groups, that will help our disabled vets in one form or another. And I love this one. This is West Virginia Hero Hunters. Took out 27 wounded warriors, and they brought back 29 deer with them. And that, I just can't tell you what that means to people to be able to do that. Because a lot of them, and they'll tell you, they say, well, I didn't think I'd ever be able to go hunting again. And then when they can, and people help them get out there, it is terrific. Let's see, line 2. Tom's with us out of Florida. Hey, Tom, what's on your mind?
Hey. Got a question for you. First one is about a lever-action big bore for hunting deer and hog in Florida, 44 Magnum or 45-70.
It's kind of a personal preference at that point. Let me ask you this. Do you have a gun in either of those calibers now, or you'd kind of like to shoot the same ammo?
No. I've always wanted a good cowboy gun. Years ago, I got to go to the Post Falls, Idaho Cabela's and hold an original 1895 45-70, and damn, you got to be a man to haul that thing around all day. But I've always wanted a big bore cowboy gun, and I looked at it. I figure I'll be shooting out in about 150 yards, so between hog and deer, and maybe go up north with it and hunt some big deer.
All right, you just decided it for me, because if you're going to go out to 150 yards, you need a 45-70. That's really beyond reasonable 44 Magnum range, and you can get the Hornady Lever Evolution ammo with pointed bullets. You cannot use regular pointed bullets in a tubular magazine, except you can with these because they have softer points, polymer points, and so you can use those. The difference in ballistics is significant over a big old flat nose 45-70 bullet. I have one 45-70 Marlin, and I have another 450 Marlin, which is just a more modern belted, silly affectation of a cartridge. I'd love to have that thing rebarreled back to 45-70. There's something pretty cool, honestly, about pulling out that big old cigar-looking cartridge that General Custer and his men used when they were out west, and you can still go hunting with that thing and go and whack a hog. And when you hit a hog with that thing, you have hit him. I guarantee. If I were you, I would go with that 45-70.
Well, I figured if nothing else, if I run out of ammo with as heavy as that octagon barrel is, I'll just jump out of the tree and beat the hog to death.
If you do that, please have somebody shoot video for me, okay?
All right. Hey, you covered something last week about the misdemeanor charges on domestic violence.
Yes.
Something that else falls under is if you've been prosecuted for that, under any family member, if you got in a fight with your brother and your brother lives with you, you get thrown underneath that bus. And if it happened before 96, you still get thrown underneath that bus, because I did. So I don't own any guns, but my wife has a hell of a collection.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about the fact that any family member would qualify as what they would call domestic violence. And the problem is...
it's retroactive.
Oh, yeah, it's retroactive forever. After they passed it, I don't care if it was 100 years ago, you're still prohibited from owning a gun. So, and the problem is, and you know this, is that what they describe as domestic violence is infinitely expandable. So, of course, not that they would ever want to expand a category of people who cannot own guns. Take a look at the so-called assault weapons original bill and how it's expanded to basically include anything that's semi-auto. So that's just what they do. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
All the refinements in Smith & Wesson's M&P M2.0 pistol series shrunk to a perfect carry size in the new compact version. 4-inch barrel, light crisp M2.0 trigger, aggressively textured grip for enhanced control, 4 interchangeable palm swell inserts, 2 magazines, lifetime service policy, 15-round 9mm mag, 13-round 40 mag, the M&P M2.0 compact pistol. More at smith-wesson.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Used guns can be a great value, but you have to know who you're buying from. What if you could buy quality used guns with a lifetime warranty from the Internet's largest online reseller? That's what you get at Dewey'sGuns.com. They stand behind every firearm purchase for life. If you have a problem, they'll either fix or replace your gun. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and more. Check out their inventory today at Dewey'sGuns.com.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Laser sights increase confidence, regardless of experience level. Whether you're learning the fundamentals, a seasoned shooter, or simply overcoming aging eyes, laser sights provide instant feedback, providing immediate confidence and enjoyment for a new shooter. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
There is no doubt whatsoever I am a gun geek. During the break, I am cruising the internet. I'm now looking at Nosler posts and looking at pictures of critters and rifles and ammo, and it's what I do. It's what we do, is it not? By the way, I'm Tom Gresham, 866 Talk Gun. Get you in here. Line 1, John's with us out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Hello, John. Welcome to Gun Talk.
Yes, hello. Quick question. I have my grandfather's 06 Winchester rimfire pump 22.
Okay.
And best I can tell, it was towards the end of the first year of production. And what I can tell from what I can find, the first 2 years, you could only shoot 22 shorts. And that's exactly what this gun does. But on the barrel, it does say short, long rifle. And then when you look at the tube, it's a tubular fed 22. You could put a long rifle in there, so I'm a little confused. Of course, my dad's 95. I'm not going to quiz him on this anymore. He probably can't remember, but that puzzles me because I had years ago, I had a perception that the barrel had gotten wore out and had been changed. But if you know what I'm trying to say is,
I guess the question is,
would take a long. Go ahead.
What are you trying to find out at this point?
Was that barrel wore out and changed? Because on the barrel it says short, long rifle, 22, or long rifle. You can't chamber anything other than a 22 short in it.
I'm gonna make a suggestion. It's going to sound maybe a little weird. The guys at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West, the Cody Firearms Museum, they have the records from the Winchester Company. If you contact them and give them the information on that gun, now some of those early ones did not have serial numbers, but if that does, you give them that and they can look that up and get you, and they charge for the service, but they can get you a letter that tells you about that gun, and they may be able to answer that question for you.
Say it again, please.
Okay,
One more time, please.
It's the Buffalo Bill Center of the West. All you have to do on the internet is look for the Cody, C-O-D-Y, Cody Firearms Museum. And when you go there, it'll have all the information. It has a link that says Firearms Records. And when you click on that, I'm looking, it says it has access to serial numbers from Winchester, Marlin, and L.C. Smith. But yeah, if you go to Cody Firearms Museum, just look for that on the internet. That's pretty much the source for this.
That's why I thought you could give me a reference, and I appreciate that because I just want to know if that barrel had been changed out sometime in early life. Yeah. Right,
and there, of course, is a Winchester Collectors Association. If you wanted to contact them, because those guys some of them are just super knowledgeable too. So if you did a little internet search for Winchester Collectors, you'd find that group as well.
Well, I appreciate your help on all that. I knew you could give me a place to go. I appreciate that.
Very good. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I may not know the answer, but I generally will know who knows the answer. And that's a lot of times that's all we really need. Phil's on Ford in Detroit. We got a quick, just a little bit of time here for a range report, Phil.
Walker, enhanced earplugs. I got a couple for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I had hoped that I could put another set over them and double up essentially, but I'm guessing the microphones are in the actual earpieces because it didn't work for that. An indoor range, they're okay. Shooting at a match and working as an RSO, they were inadequate, but I'm sure they're good for outdoor.
Well, now let me ask you, these are electronic earplugs?
They're electronic earplugs.
Yeah, if you use them inside of, now will you use them inside of electronic muffs, or are you using regular passive muffs on top of them?
I tried both, and they didn't amplify anything when I had something over the top of them.
Yeah, I think probably if you want to do a double up, what I do is I'll go with just the stupid little foam earplugs and then go with electronic muffs over the top, because that then has access to the sounds out there they can amplify, and I can turn the volume up a little bit on the ear muffs, and it will get through where I can hear range commands and all through the foam plugs. But then when it cuts out electronically, now I'm getting the passive noise reduction of the earplugs plus the muffs. They're both going passive at that point. And that's all electronic plugs or muffs do, is they go from active to passive when they cut out the noise.
Yeah, working as an RSO on a range, I need to be able to hear people talk and ask questions and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So for outdoor, I think they're going to be absolutely wonderful. But like I said, for that, they were a bit challenged.
Yeah, and I understand, because honestly, it's just so darn loud inside. You need as much hearing protection as you can get. Try a combination of just foam plugs and an electronic muff inside. You can hear range commands. You can hear people talking. You can hear that very important sound of somebody dropping a slide on a gun back behind you, behind the line, so you can whip around and find out what's going on behind you. As an RSO, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's a combination I like. Foam plugs and then put electronic muffs over the top. It's kind of the best of all worlds. And now you're getting double attenuation is the 50-cent word for that. Basically passive noise reduction. When the electronic muffs shut off when there's a gunshot, now you have the reduction from passive ear muffs and from passive ear plugs. It makes a real difference. I honestly think it's a good way to start people out. They can hear you talking to them, but then it cuts out a lot of that noise and it makes shooting simply more comfortable for them. All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. Let's see. Jim is in Casper, Wyoming on 2. Hey, Jim, this domestic violence question. You're thinking about this.
Yes. The Constitution specifically prohibits both Congress and the states from enacting ex post facto or retroactive laws.
One would think.
Hello?
Yeah, one would think that's the case, but I know where you're going. No, the Lautenberg Amendment, which is like 20 years old now, is totally illegal, ex post facto. They passed it and said if you're convicted of a domestic violence crime, pardon me, you can't own a gun for the rest of your life. And they said, it's going to be retroactive from back to the beginning of time. That has already been challenged in court, and weirdly enough, has been found to be illegal. So, and look, there were a bunch of cops that lost their jobs as a result because somebody, some 20, 30, 40 years ago, got a divorce, and the wife said, hey, he pushed me, he shoved me, and, they charged him, and the lawyer said, look, it's a $25 fine, don't worry about it, just plead it, make it go away, which he did. 20 years later, they say, oh, yeah, well, that also means you can't own a gun for the rest of your life. He said, well, I didn't even do it. I just paid the $25 fine and made it go away. Doesn't matter. You got a conviction. Boom. So I share your outrage at this. It's wrong, but it is, unfortunately, the law of the land.
Until the court overturns it, and anecdotally, the governor's office here in Wyoming, just a few years ago, tried to enhance the sentences of sex offenders to keep them in prison longer, and the high court here said, no, you don't get to do that.
Interesting. Let me ask you, when you heard about this, and this is the Lautenberg Amendment that makes, and it was the first time in the history of the United States where conviction of a misdemeanor crime, a misdemeanor, cost you your civil rights for life. What was your first reaction to that?
It's completely politically motivated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Frank Lautenberg was a super liberal Democrat. And look, I appreciate the call, which brings me to a point. We're looking at midterm elections. And people say, yeah, midterms, who cares? Here's why we care, because if the Democrats can get control of the House and the Senate, here's what we have. We have Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House. We have Chuck Schumer as the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Done deal, locked up. They get to decide what gets brought to a vote. They get to decide what is debated. They get to decide who chairs all of the committees. And you can forget getting any conservative on the Supreme Court or probably any of the appellate courts, the appeals courts. That process stops if that happens. Here's our problem. Last election in 2016, we, gun owners, conservatives, were motivated to keep Hillary Clinton out. I'm not feeling that right now. What I'm feeling is a lot of the leftists are motivated through hate of Donald Trump, which is motivated by the nonstop 95% coverage. It's 95% of the mainstream media coverage is negative on Donald Trump. You can have a great economy, you can have more jobs, you can have wages going up, you can have all the rest of it, but if the media keeps telling people he's evil, he's senile, he's crazy, he's whatever, fill in the blank or whatever it is, racist, then a ton of people believe it. And my very real concern is that the Republicans lose control of Congress. Don't get me wrong, I get it. The Republicans are often no better. But at the very least, we're going to get Supreme Court justices and lower court judges with them. When the Democrats control it, we will not get that, and we could very easily get a stalemate, a stop, and then we'd have to have Trump vetoing a ton of bills that they push through. It's going to be a critical time for us. The question is, are you ready? Are you motivated? And what are you going to do about it? 866-TALK-GUN. This is Gun Talk.